So hello, today we'll again continue the discussion on friction. And in today's class we will discuss about friction, how the friction is responsible for power transmission in belt and chain drives. So this will be your 19th class. Okay, and this will be the last class on 5th module, that is on friction. So now belt and chain drives, as you know, that these are widely used in industries and also in workshops for transmission of power from one shaft to another, or mainly for a power transmission. Now as you know that the belt drive is mounted over the shaft like in this manner. Okay, now there is a contact, there is a surface contact between the surface of the shaft and the belt, and so there is a frictional force which acts between these two surfaces, and this frictional force is responsible for the transmission of power from the driving shaft to some another driven shaft. Okay, now for this transmission of power we have to assume that there is a firm frictional grip between the surface of the shaft and that of the belt. Okay, and this is responsible for the forward motion of the driver without carrying the belt with it. Okay, so if there is no frictional force, then this driver pulley, it will carry the shaft along with it, it will carry the belt along with it. Okay, so you can see over here this belt drive. Okay, how power is transmitted in a belt drive. Okay, so over here this is the driving shaft. The smaller one is the driving shaft, and this is the driven shaft, the larger one. And this is a belt drive through which power is transmitted between the shafts. So see this is a picture of a belt drive. You can see that this belt drive. Okay, so this is the belt drive and these are the two shafts, okay, between which power is transmitted. Now you know that this frictional force is responsible for the transmission of power. Okay, now this power transmission, it depends upon a few factors. Okay, factors on which power transmission depends. So number one is the velocity of the belt. Okay, second is the tension, the belt tension. So the tension under which the belt is placed on the pulleys. Three is the arc of contact. Suppose this is the main driving shaft, the smaller one. Now it depends on, now there is an arc of contact between the belt and this shaft surface. So you can see that this from here to here is the surface of contact. So there is an angle, this one, the small angle. Suppose this is theta. So this theta is the arc of contact. So it depends upon the arc of contact of the driving shaft or the smaller pulley. Okay, so for these things there has to be certain precautions that needs to be taken. Okay, some points to be kept in mind. That number one, that the shaft should be properly in line. shafts should be in line. That means these two shafts, they must be on the same line. The shafts must be properly in line so that there is then uniform tension along the belt. Suppose there is uniform tension along the length of the belt. Second point is that the pulleys should not be too close. These two pulleys should not be too close, because in that case the arc of contact of this smaller pulley will be very less. So we have to keep the arc of contact at the optimum. So for that, the distance between these pulleys should not be very less. Okay, the pulleys should not be too close. Third point, they also should not be very far away from each other. They should not be too far away from each other, so that the belt can weigh on the pulley, so that the belt can weigh heavily on the pulleys. So belt can weigh heavily on the engine, so the friction force will be larger. So the distance have to be kept to an optimum, not very less and not very large. Okay. So for the belt's results, the distance between the belts, it should not exceed 10 meters. It should not exceed 10 meters. So it should be less than 10 meters, and it should not be less than 3.5 times the diameter of the larger pulley. 3.5 times the diameter of the larger pulley. So it should be between these two lengths. Okay, for the best results. And another point is that the tight side of the belt should be at the bottom. Tight side should be at the bottom, so that when there is a sag, when there is a loose or sag, the loose side will increase the arc of contact of the pulleys. Okay, so loose side will increase the arc of contact of pulleys. Okay, so these are the points which has to be kept in mind. Now there are different types of flat belt drives. Okay, we'll see them briefly. You can see this is this picture. This is the open belt drive, okay, where the shafts are arranged in a parallel and they are rotating in the same direction. The shafts are rotating in the same direction. Okay, and the tight side is on the lower side. Okay, the tight side is on the lower side, and the slack side is on the upper side. So this is a flat belt drive. Okay, this is the most simple type of belt drive. And the next one, you can see this is a crossed belt drive. Okay, with this and this shafts are rotating in the opposite directions. Okay, you can see this one, this cross belt drive. This one is the tighter side. This belt is tight. The tension is more, and this side the tension is very less. Okay, so this is a crossed belt drive. See over here, this is another type of belt drive. There you can see that there is a number of idler pulleys. This pulley, okay, this pulley, this all intermediate pulleys are the idler pulleys between the driven and the driving pulley. Okay, number of idler pulleys. So this is another type of belt drive. Okay, so this idler pulleys are used to obtain a very high velocity ratio. Okay, this type of arrangement is used when the motion needs to be transmitted to a number of shafts. Okay, so this is about the idler belt drive with idler pulley. See this figure. This is an example of a compound pulley, compound belt drive. So this is another type of belt drive when the power needs to be transmitted from one shaft to another through a number of pulleys. You can see over here. Okay, so this is the compound belt drive. There are also other type of belt drives. Okay, so those types are not needed for now. Okay, cone pulley drive and others. Okay, so you remember these 4 types only. Now we will see that what is the velocity ratio of a belt drive. This is very important topic, velocity ratio. Okay, so this velocity ratio, it is the ratio between the velocities of the driver and the driven. Ratio of velocity of driver and the driven. So suppose d1 is the velocity of the driver and d2 is the velocity of the driven. d2 is the velocity of driven. So n1 হচ্ছে speed of the driver in rpm. Speed of the driven in rpm. So now I will only just write the expression, okay, which is important for you. So when there is no slip, now what is slip I will explain just now, okay, after writing this for expression. So when there is no slip, then the velocity v1 is equal to v2. That means this v1 and v2 are the peripheral velocity of the belt on the driving and the driver and the driven pulleys. So suppose here the velocity of the belt is v1 and here it is v2. So when there is no slip, v1 is equal to v2. So pi d1 n1 by 60 is equal to pi d2 n2 by 60. So n1 by n2 is equal to d2 by d1. Okay, very simple formula. You remember this. This is important while solving problems. Okay, now for a compound belt drive. The same formula will be written in this formula, that the speed of the final driven by speed of the first driver is equal to product of the diameters of the drivers by the product of the diameter of the drivens. Okay, so this will be the formula for the when there are a number of pulleys. Okay, so this will be the formula, product of the diameter of the drivers, the product of the diameter of the drivens. For this is a compound drive when there are a number of pulleys. Okay, so this is about there are large number of topics, but you for now you know these topics only. Now the next topic we will study about this chain drives. Okay, so you have already know that in case of this belt drives, there are chances of slipping, or the belt and the shaft surface of the shaft, they may not move together. There may be slippage of the belt drive. So in order to prevent this slipping, we use chain drives. Okay, iron chain drives are used. So these chains, as you know, are already made up of rigid links. Okay, and they are hinged together in order to provide the necessary flexibility. So see this is a figure of a chain drive. Okay, you can see this. So these are made up of rigid links which are hinged together to provide the necessary flexibility for warping around the driving and the driven wheels. These wheels, as you can see, they have projecting teeth. These wheels are projecting teeth and fit into the corresponding recesses in the links. Okay, so they fit into these recesses or these gaps. So these wheels and these chains, so these wheels and the chain, and they are constant to move together. They are constant to move together without slipping, and they ensures a perfect velocity ratio. They ensures a perfect velocity ratio. So these toothed wheels, as you can see, so these toothed wheels are known as the sprockets. Okay, so this is known as a sprocket. You can see over here, sprocket, and this is the chain. This is another sprocket. So these chain drives are used to transmit motion and power from one shaft to another. When the distance between the shaft centers is very low, when the distance between the shaft centers is low. Okay. So these type of things are used in bikes, okay, bicycles and other machineries, and other agricultural machineries and other things. Okay, so this is about the chain drive. So the advantages of the chain drives over belt drives. So the advantages of chain drives over belt drives: that there is no slippage and perfect velocity ratio is obtained. Okay, so as these chains are made up of metal, so they occupy less space. Than belt or rope drive. Okay, they have high efficiency, high transmission efficiency. Okay, fourth is that it gives less load on the shaft. Then it has the ability of transmitting motion. To several shafts. by a single chain. So different types of links are used in the chain drive. They may be of oval links, square links, or any type of links. Okay. And the chain drives are also of different types. So this is all you need to know about this belt and chain drives. Okay. There are a large number of topics, but these things are not in your syllabus. Okay. So you know only the why belt and chain drives are used. Okay, and what is the basic mechanism of transmission of power by means of friction, and about the advantages and disadvantages of this belt and chain drives. Okay, so we close our discussion on belt and chain drives over here. You can refer to any standard book, okay, for the topics which I have covered. So thank you.